My name is Paul David Sholin, D.D.
Okay, good. And we're here on January 11th, and it's 1:24 in the afternoon. Okay, good. In Arthur Pack's book, he credits you with coming up with the idea of donating the ranch to the Presbyterian Church.
That's correct.
After he had looked at the Boy Scouts and some other organizations.
That's correct.
Can you tell me? Can you tell us how that
How it all
process
happened?
Yeah.
Well, the way I got in touch with the ranch was with Arthur and his wife was I had started this church here in town called St. Mark's in '48, and about '49 I think we had started with about 60 some people, and it was going pretty well. And I preached a sermon one time when the state was trying to get gambling going. And my sermon topic was, I believe in gambling. So Phoebe Pack was interested and she came to church. Of course, I was against gambling. I said you had to gamble on God and the other stuff was nonsense. We didn't need gambling in the state. She liked it so much, she got Arthur interested and they became very involved in the church. They eventually then invited us to go visit them at the ranch. I had a couple of kids by then. We had a nice time. We would visit regularly. I got a month off each summer, and we'd go up there with a family. And we just enjoyed it very much. We got to be very well acquainted. I also got Arthur to teach a class, Sunday school class. And so we were talking about the ranch and how wonderful it was there. And they had come to town, you see, to educate their kids, and that's how they were in Tucson, but they still lived in the ranch as much as they could. Anyway, at that point, we would sit out on the veranda. I don't know what you call it, a veranda, on the porch up there in the main building they had. In the evening, and it was wonderful the conversation. We enjoyed each other, and Arthur was a very erudite man, and I'd been around as a kid too, so I knew how to talk to him. We were good friends by then. And of course, the fact that the YMCA was most interested in the ranch came up a lot. And Claremont Loper was the executive for the Y here in town. And he and Arthur were very close, and so he kept bugging Arthur to please give the ranch, because Arthur felt that he was getting to where he needed to pass it on someone. He thought, well, I want you to give it to the Y. Well, one night we were talking, and I said, well, Arthur, you know, you don't have to give it to the Y. You could give it to the church. That would be a good way to do it. I could understand this could be a place where people could come and have some of your best minds come together, think about the future of the church and that sort of thing. That appealed to him a great deal. Finally, one night he said, Dave, I've decided. The YMCA has too small a C in it for my sake. I think I'd like to give it to the church. Out of that came this whole transaction of the denomination becoming involved and participating in ownership then, and that's basically the story.
And this would have been in 1954, 55?
About then. I don't remember the date exactly, no. At my age, I'm in my 90th year, I don't remember those dates and don't give a damn. I shouldn't have said that, I guess, but you can edit that.
So you and Arthur were, had become good friends.
Always.
And then, and you visited the ranch prior to the Presbyterian Church acquiring the property.
Well, that's how the church got involved. We were there for many summers together. As a matter of fact, he and I used to fly back and forth in his plane. I remember one time he was up about 4,000 feet and ran out of gas, and I thought, well, I better learn how to land this plane. things go like this, and so eventually he tried to teach me to land the plane just in case anything went wrong. We had a good time. We went back and forth a lot.
And then you continued to visit the ranch after the church?
Yes, I participated somewhat, but the church was a little bit skeptical. They didn't want to have me be too involved because they thought I would be too influential in having Arthur's influence in whatever they had to decide. Interesting time, but whatever. I lost interest in going after a while because it was too far. I had 5 kids and it was too involved, and so I was too busy here. But Arthur was a great help to me. He helped me get started here in Human Relations Commission, chairman and everything else here in town. So it was a good go together.
And I understood you correctly, that you started the First Presbyterian Church here?
I started St. Mark's here in 48.
48.
Came in 47, yeah.
Okay. Can you tell me a little bit about yourself? You're not from Tucson, I take it. Are you from the East Coast? Or?
I'm from parents that took me around the world. I was in Spanish-speaking countries. I was born in Argentina. My first memories are the Philippine Islands, and my basic years of growing up were in Spain from 20 to, let's see, it was 30 to 36. And in 36, Franco wanted to take over the government. By the way, those are the greatest years of Spanish history as far as I'm concerned, a great moment in history. But we were in Granada, which I consider my hometown, and in Granada, Franco decided to take over the town, and so he did, and we became refugees and came out of there. Then from Granada, we went to Cadiz and on to the USS Oklahoma as a family, and then on to the United States. But it was just one of those moments when the whole world exploded. And as far as I'm concerned, I've always been a very progressive person because of that history as a kid. When you're from 10 to 16, you really get impressed with what the Spanish culture is all about. And so when it came time after I graduated from Princeton, I decided to come west because my dad was a Westerner. And so I came west, and there was an opening here, I thought here in Tucson. The job that was opened at Trinity was closed by the time I got here. But there was an opening to start a church, and so I said, well, I'll do it. Because my interest, of course, was being a bicultural, multicultural atmosphere because of my background. So that's my quick summary of where I'm from and what I'm all about.
And you went to seminary at Princeton, and where did you go to college before? Huh?
I went to college at Bob Jones, great fundamentalist institution. Yeah, I'm afraid they never wanted to own me once I graduated from there. They never were very happy about that. I never went back, actually.
And then you ran then you were associated with St. Mark's for how long?
38 years.
38 years.
Yes, sir.
And your relationship with Arthur Pack, it wasn't it wasn't a hard sale to.
No, we were very good friends. I was very, very, very gentle about my suggestion about the church. Arthur made up his own mind about everything, and so we just in conversation. Well, you could give it to the church, and that's the way it worked.
In the little I know about Arthur Pack, it seems to me that there's some core values there about that I think are represented in the relationship between the ranch and the community. I know that Arthur, for example, donated the money for the hospital.
That's correct.
In Española.
In Española, yeah.
What other sort of anecdotes do you have about that side of Arthur? Because it seems that.
Well, Arthur was kind of the patron of the area. He just fit right in, and people were very responsive to him. He was very sensitive to them, he was really a patrono in the old sense of the word. And actually, he put together the ranch from Spanish grants and that sort of thing. And you probably know that history already, but it was very interesting stuff. Arthur went there originally because he wanted to get away and be where, well, he was actually, did you know he was head of Nature magazine, one of the first editors of Nature magazine. So he was very aware of, and he picked the Ghost Ranch area because of its beauty and because he was just that interested in nature. But he was a great storyteller. People would gather around and listen to his stories at no end. You have other questions?
Go ahead and jump in there if you can.
Well, I'm kind of curious about what the ranch was like before the church got it. Because it's all, that's the only time that I've ever known the ranch is.
Well, 28,000 acres, I think, and they had a strip, actually right close to the ranch, in front of the ranch. That strip was moved up on the mesa after a while, but in the original ranch, Arthur had cattle, and it was, my son loved to ride on the horses that he had. It was very, it was primitive, and yet it was very, well, actually, it was kind of a guest ranch in the classical sense of the word, because people would come from the big complex, Los Alamos there, and Arthur would have some of the greatest scientists in the world come over there for a chance to get away, and Arthur would be the host, and his wife was a great hostess, and I think that's the kind of thing you want to know, isn't it?
Very much. And who were maybe some of the folks that were there at the same time that you were there, or guests at the ranch? What would a typical evening at the ranch look like when there were guests there?
Well, actually, we were there as a family, and there were not that many people there when we would come. We were kind of their guests, and so we didn't have a lot of people coming in. One of the interesting moments that I recall is the artist that lived nearby, and he gave a property to her. When she came over one night, when she heard that Arthur was giving it to the church, she said, "You should have given it to me." And she was furious, absolutely furious, and stalked out of there. And we always said, well, she's not a very nice lady, from what we could tell.
So you were there when George O'Keeffe found out?
She was there when she came in and stormed in and said she wanted the ranch, not the church. She was not terribly churchy, Now, we got very well acquainted with people from the area, but not so much guests.